like to thank you all for coming tonight and for your presence, your support. And there's a few other folks he'd like to thank for their contributions for tonight. Lori Klinger, founding artistic and executive director of Rose's Theater Kids. Thank you for sharing the space with us. Jeff Statiel, director of PPS at Rosie's Theater Kids, our videographer. Rosalie O'Connor, our photographer. Delaney Vincent, who is our event assistant, who you've met on the way in. And a lot of you might have been expecting LaShawns to be our moderator, and I am so sorry to say that she will not be joining us tonight. She's not feeling well, she has a fever, she's infectious, and she did not want to spread her germs. So, I cannot fill LaShawns' shoes by any means, but I am happy to act as the event moderator tonight. So, we are here tonight to celebrate the extraordinary human that is Timothy Johnson and his new book, How to Rehearse a Scene. As a teacher, mentor, colleague, director, friend, and champion of young and seasoned artists alike, his luminosity has shined brightly on all of us. I have often asked myself, how can this man have such a seemingly endless well of generosity of spirit, positivity, and ability to be so present and make you feel so seen and important? And everyone I know that has ever been in his orbit feels the same. Timothy's career has spanned 4 decades. He's appeared in A Chorus Line, Legends with Mary Martin and Carol Channing. He appeared in Metropolitan Opera's debut of Porgy and Bess, as Jazz and Regina with Scottish Opera, in the original cast of Zora Neale Hurston, just to name a few. As a director, his production of On Strivers Row was nominated for 4 Adelco Awards, including for Best Direction. He has collaborated with Ruben Santiago Hudson as associate director on several productions, including John Leguizamo's The Other Americans, opening this fall at the Public Theater. He is an accomplished flautist, playwright, and most proudly, a teacher and professor. By vote of Marymount Manhattan College's 2022 class of theater majors, Timothy received the Outstanding Faculty Member of the Division of Fine and Performing Arts Award. How lucky are we that he has taken his wealth of knowledge and experience and has written a book that can inspire all of us and generations to come. Please welcome my dear friend, Timothy Johnson.
If you got to be a fly on the wall at your own funeral. That's what it feels like. I mean, I did my first equity show with Miss Tina Fabrique right there. And that was 1980 at Kinley Players, yes, right? Yes. I mean, it's like, come on now. It's like, this is my life too. Yeah. Thank you for being here. My gosh. Thank you all for being here. You have no idea what it means to me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, let's get started.
Okay.
So, after your incredible career, and you've done so many things and worked in so many different art forms, why now? What led you to write this book?
In 2008, I made a decision not to continue this adjunct teaching position I had at Marymount Manhattan College because I wanted to spend more time just exploring other creative options, not only as a teacher but also as a performer. Yet there was something in my still small voice of instinct that said to me, you need to do some self-evaluation on your teaching. So I made a list of the things that I thought could use some improvement. And this one in particular came up that I had assumed that my students knew what to do in those unsupervised required scene rehearsals that they have. And then I thought, well, what would I like them to do? And it got me just probing my mind and going, what can they do? What can they do? Well, what if you come up with some exercises that could enhance their scene process work from start to finish? So I started writing these while I was actually teaching here part-time at Rosie's Theater Kids. And then in 2011, I decided I want to go back to academia. I want to go back to teaching on the college level. And fortunately, I was able to get another position at Marymount as an adjunct. Eventually, I got a full-time position. Eventually, I got promoted to associate professor. And it was the students, so many of them are here now, they were the ones who actually played with those exercises, and they taught me what worked, what didn't work, what needed revision, what new exercises I could come up with to support them in their process work. So that's literally how they were born. They were 16 years in the making. And what I would do is I would type it up, I'd teach it in class, and I'd give them a handout with all these exercises on it. So, and occasionally I would say, oh, one day I'll get it published. But yet I admit that I allowed fear to enter my unconscious, and I didn't really pursue it until winter 2023. And I said, you better push that aside. You want to share this work. And I reached out to some people I knew who had books published, and I just asked for their advice. I submitted 3 book proposals. One friend from a wonderful theater organization for theater professors even set me up with an e-introduction to her publisher at Routledge Press. And then Bloomsbury, so I had 2 publishers after I submitted my proposal that wanted to do the book. I ultimately decided to go with Bloomsbury, and there it is. Now I get to share it.
Congratulations. To all of us, to hear that your life's work, you're working on it, and to say maybe someday, and just to keep refining it, and then now here it is, and you birthed it. So
well, every moment of it was literally a gift, because I got to be in the room with my students, and I got to witness them, like before my eyes, surrender that want to get it right. And then they were playing. And then by playing, they were igniting more inspiration and impulses that before maybe weren't happening because, God bless them, they wanted to get it right. And that was actually pushing down their innate abilities to actually soar. So that's truly, they're a part of how this came to be, the students, yeah.
Beautiful. How would you describe the content of your book? What's the structure like?
Yeah, well, it provides actors with exercises and assignments that will imaginatively, artistically, and personally enhance their scene process work from start to finish. From an actor's first read-through of the play, working alone, through to their rehearsals with their scene partners, the structure of each exercise and assignment becomes the teacher in the room, detailing what they can do to make specific and personal discoveries that will continue to empower them to grow throughout their scene process work. And along with the exercises and assignments in the book, There's a suggested rehearsal schedule. There's scene partner etiquette, because that's important, right? Yeah, if you've ever dealt with a scene partner, it's a new relationship, right? So I'm like, I think I need to talk about just some basic things in support of building a new, cohesive, collaborative working relationship. And then there's tips for teachers for teaching the exercises. And then there's reflections in the book that highlight my personal and artistic experiences that directly and indirectly relate to the exercises.
I had the privilege of getting a little preview of this book, and loved the reflections. And what made you decide to do that? And they're so personal, and but they also mirror the exercises, and they mirror what you're asking the actors to do. And so, when did you decide, and what drove you to include those?
Interestingly enough, initially I didn't envision that the reflections would be in the book. I thought it would just be the scene rehearsal exercises. And when I submitted my proposal, the draft of my book, which was literally a revised draft of what I had given my students all that time, it came to about 14,000 words. And my editor said, well, all right, I went to Routledge, they've given it the green light, your book is on, but one catch, you gotta get it up to 60,000 words. Yeah, and I thought, okay, so. What am I gonna do? And yeah, I thought, well, I think you can actually make the instructions even more thorough because, hey, it was a bit of a shorthand because you were teaching them in class. So I worked on that. And then I thought, okay, I can include tips for teachers to teach the exercises. And I could add the suggested rehearsal schedule, an acting accountability report. So stuff kept coming to me. And then I went, oh, you need to talk about yourself. What if there's a conversation between heart and head in the book? Because so much of my experience of finding myself so passionately drawn to wanting to participate in the arts from a kid on was related to where I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. My incredible mother, who, when you get the book, it's dedicated to her, and my flute teacher, and my first teachers, my mentors, my friends, Renard Smith, who sang solos in the choir, and I don't want to give away the story on him that came up, but they're all related to, they taught me what it meant to live a life that's asking you to give, that's asking you to be seen by others, and to actually celebrate in permitting your soul to sing in your walk in life. So that's how they got born. I didn't know what each of them would be, but yet again, the beauty of when you commit to something, y'all, is all you gotta do is commit. And then I promise you, your ancestors will be with you. And I'm sitting in my little studio in Brooklyn, and I wrote the whole book there on my MacBook, and throughout every day, I'd work on it 7 days a week because I loved it. And the thing that was lifting me up were my ancestors, were my mentors, were my teachers, were my friends. And I was like, what do I say? What do I say? Just ask, just ask. And it would come to me. You need to talk about this, because this will serve this exercise. And you need to talk about that, because I do talk in these reflections about some mistakes I made, y'all. Oh, I made some mistakes. Because I'm like, I want them to see that part of a journey of an artist is actually, it's a human journey. It should not, nor do I believe, can it ever be separated from what it means to be a human being. So these reflections, they ended up, as I said before, really igniting that conversation between heart and head. And one last thing about the reflections that I particularly enjoyed is that I got to give some flowers to people in my life. And that really made me happy, that I got to put their name in print and say what they did. And I don't want to give it away, but that mentor who literally, if she hadn't told me to do X, Y, Z, I would have gone in a direction where I would have done something that ultimately I would have been like, oh, it wouldn't have led me to this moment in time with y'all.
I have to say that I want him to write another book. when you read these reflections, you'll be asking for that book too. So get ready to.
Thank you.
You're going to be clamoring for it.
Yeah. Friends, come on in. He just traveled y'all from a big old vacation all over the world.
Hey everybody.
He came straight here.
Off the plane from the airport. Yeah. Yes, take a seat. Thank you, Ava.
Can you give an example of one of the exercises or what they would expect?
Yeah. I'll give like a little brief rundown of the chapters. The first chapter is called Working Alone, and it literally starts, and this was something that my ancestors and all my friends that were with me in that room told me, you need to write something that can actually speak to the reader to say, it's so important that you honor and acknowledge your limitless potential to grow. So I didn't know what the affirmation would be. I just again started typing. So it starts with that, because I think so much about the start of the work is honoring the fact that you can start this work, and by choosing to start it, you're already moving. So start the work, but start the work with acknowledging that you have something to say. So that starts that. Then I get into the script. That's the first thing I say you gotta do. You gotta read that during script, right? But not just once. I say you gotta read that thing no less than once a week when you're working on a scene. And if you're working on a play, a full production, go on and read it once a week. And if you can get it in there twice, because we all know why, you're gonna keep learning things. So then I get specific about a written assignment that you can do working alone, where you literally break down technically what is going on in the scene, what is going on in the play. And I also reveal some of the terminology that I was inspired to come up with. Like, there's something that I named a prompt thought. And what it is, it's a thought you can make use of as preparation. Right before your scene or monologue begins, that will set you up to start your work with clarity of action, self-investment, and stakes. To give an example of one, I want to break up with my partner because I don't love them anymore. But I'm afraid to be alone. So there you have it. You have what you want, why you want it, but then you got this obstacle you got to deal with, right? And it just so happens, I learned through working with my students, it's extra helpful to identify an internal obstacle. So with this imaginary character, it was an internal obstacle. They realized that they were afraid to be alone. So that's one example of these terms I came up with. Then there's a very, very super specific character biography template breakdown, historical research. I know Mr. Ruben Santiago Hudson, we love our historical research. You gotta do it, you gotta do it. You gotta know the world that you're being asked to live in, because, hey, it's an honor when a playwright says, I want you to be a part of the storytelling of this story. So I think it's so crucial. And so here it is. I give you that template. And then I also, what else do I do in that? Oh man, I do a lot. I mean, I don't play.
No.
And I ask you to do a lot of work. But come on, it's being an artist. So being an artist is asking you to continually engage in the what if and what else can I learn. And then the second chapter is called Working with a Scene Partner. And it starts with that scene partner etiquette. There's even also some stuff on intimacy, theatrical intimacy, because as we know, it's very, very much now truly included in theatrical productions and in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And then also there's something I call like a check-in questionnaire that scene partners can look at individually just to ask themselves, well, how am I doing? Mm-hmm. In terms of, am I being respectful of my scene partner? Am I actually honoring their point of view? Am I looking at the text? Am I doing everything I can that really will ignite us in a sense of collaboration? So that's there too. And so all of that's in the working along. Then in the working with a scene partner. And then I also get into so much this thing about working with a scene partner is wanting to be playful. So I talk about ways you can be playful. This is before you even read the script, because there's also this first rehearsal with a scene partner written assignment where you get to talk about your experience during the first part of the book, working along, about what you both think is the super objective of the play. You talk about each of your scene objectives. You even come up with an idea of, okay, let's put down on paper what our imaginary environment is for our entire scene. We read the play, so let's compare notes. Let's talk about that. So all of that happens first. Then we get into those rehearsal exercises. Let me tell you, there's some secret sauce in that. Oh yeah! And what this secret sauce is that it can actually push away that part of an actor that wants to get it right. And what it can do, because of the nature of the exercises, it can lead them to play with limitless possibilities. Because the explanations and the instructions of the exercise, the ingredients are abstraction, because I believe that abstraction can lead to discovery. And then there's improvisation, and then there's also imagination. and then there's so much joy in these exercises. I promise you, in the actual way that they are devised. So all of that's in these exercises. And they go from the first moment. There's exercises for when you're not off book. But what's so cool about those early exercises is that what they do, if you just do them, my students would always say, I'm practically off book now, Professor Johnson. And they realized they were practically off book without trying, because they were finding why they needed to use the text, rather than going, I have to say this and I have to say this right. So that's the beauty of the way that I was blessed to be a vessel to come up with these things that could do that for an actor, that could really encourage them to play with limitless possibilities. And then in chapter 4, there's a suggested rehearsal schedule, but actually I start that too with let me see, what did I put before that? I'm trying to think. I put so much stuff in this book. Yeah, I just wanted to get it all in there, yeah.
I wish you were my acting teacher back in the day, because you would have, I was reading this and I just thought, hello, yes, why, did I go that deep? Did I ever do that type of research? And so you were having me ask all these questions, and thinking about, as a teacher also, it's like, I love the way you said that. We kind of bounce around that, but that is concrete. That's something I can give them. Yeah. So it's excellent. So
thank you.
I'm just curious, how many folks here were students of, okay. Yes! Tell us about what was you shared a little bit about being in your studio in Brooklyn, and calling on your ancestors and those your mentors, and what did you learn that surprised you?
Whoa. It was a huge surprise, y'all. And it happened, the realization of this surprise of what I learned from the experience happened in January of this year. I think it was January 23rd was a due date for my final draft of the book. And just to give you a little sense of the process, after that, then they hired a person to read it, and then they gave me their comments, then the copy editor gave me mine. So there was room for me to make a few little tweaks, but pretty much the book was going to be turned in then. And so in other words, I couldn't work 7 days a week anymore. The book was out of my hands. I was waiting to get feedback. And so one day I'm in my apartment, and then I went, this book taught you that you thought you failed. when I came to New York in 1980, when I got on an Amtrak train, I was a kid who before that spent countless hours listening to the original Broadway cast recordings at the library and reading every book I could find on the theater. So my dream was to go to New York and work on Broadway. I wanted to work on Broadway, off Broadway, national tours. And through writing the book, I realized you didn't really validate that you did make dreams come true. You didn't end up working nonstop on Broadway. You only was on Broadway for one night on the record-breaking performance of Chorus Line. But yet I downplayed all that for myself. Then I realized that I had succeeded because I was following my mission in life, which is to encourage others. And I've gotten to teach. And I've gotten to, the other day I was on my way to rehearsal. This young man got hit by a taxi. Thank God, he was all right. He was on one of those city bikes. And it was about 5 minutes to time to be in rehearsal, but I was like, if I'm late, I'm late. I gotta go over to this young man. I go over to him, thank God he was fine. Totally fine. But I sensed that he needed somebody just to stay with him. And I spoke with the taxi driver with him. Fortunately, he just had one little scratch here. And I said, what do you want to do? Do you want to get his car number? I said, okay, let's walk over there. And the taxi driver was like, it's his fault. I said, well, sir, I hope you understand he's in a state of shock right now. He just wants to get this information. He's not saying anything. And I bring this up to say that I didn't know that was going to happen. But I believe that I was supposed to be there because my mission in life is to encourage others. And I was humbled by this opportunity to be there for this young man who, God bless him, he was still in shock. And I stayed with him the whole time. And then before we parted, he said, thank you. And then with my students, being in the room with them, I admit I was super committed and responsible to the work I did. I spent countless hours preparing for every class because I wanted to walk in that room and fly. I wanted to go into that space and I wanted to engage everybody in that room, and I wanted to see them. I wanted them to know I saw them. I wanted them to know that they mattered. And I realized I had to do it that way because I had teachers who did it that way for me. I'm standing on their shoulders. I'm sitting on their shoulders. So in other words, it's like I went, Timmy, you done good. What's wrong with you? You done good.
We share some former students,
yes.
And even just this past week, I ran into a former student, and they said, guess who I ran into? And they just lit up, and they were so happy to have seen you and that you took the time with them, and you really take your time. So that mission is to encourage people. Let me tell you, you're doing it all the time, in the small ways, the big ways. And she carried that with her, and she said, I didn't even think you really remembered me or remembered our time but you made her feel so valued. And you also did that very recently. He came to see a little summer show of our younger students. He wanted to stay after, and he thanked them. He thanked these 13, 14, 15-year-old kids for sharing their art. And I don't know that anyone's ever said that to them before. And they might not know you on a daily basis, but I could tell they were all with you, and they're going to remember your words because they were so impactful. So you're doing really good. What do you think this book will offer to readers?
My hope is that it will be, well, my favorite spiritual. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick souls. I'm hoping that this book can be a balm for anybody who has questioned their worth and their ability to tap into their most precious gift to life, which is their innate beauty, their innate soul, their innate spirit, their three eyes, I call them, their mind, their imagination, instinct, and intellect. My hope is that this book will say to them, you matter, please share your gift, because no one else has it. You're the only one with your mind, your body, your spirit, with your impulses, with your instinct. You are a gift. Please honor that. Please know that. I'm hoping the book can be supportive and encouraging to them in that way. That's my greatest hope. Yeah.
My final question before our Q&A is you end with inspirational quotes of the day, which you wrote to share with your students that directly relate to the day's lesson plan. Can you share one of them with us tonight?
Yeah, I will, and it's one that I think doesn't get old, and I'm gonna stand up because I'm a teacher, so I'll stand up and share this one, so I can share with the people's. Sing your song in the midst of noise, as its melody rises and wraps and coils around each bump and curve and fall. May it float and dance like a wind-kissed ball. Then let your notes glide and turn and stop. For silence is more than a resting spot. It's a key change, a chance to sing anew, a life, your very own song of you. Of you. Of you, 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 of you. Of you, of you, of you, of you. I'm still working on it, to be honest. Like, I've decided that I'm definitely gonna go to France next year. Because two dear friends of mine retired there. They bought a home in Montpellier. They've been there 3 years, and I haven't gone yet. And I have a good reason for not having gone yet. This incomparable artist has been keeping me working, so I haven't been available to go, and I was writing the book. So now I'm like, you gotta go. So, thank you for asking.
Are there more books in the future, do you think?
I don't know yet. I'm so open to it.
You spoke earlier about overcoming fear.
Yes.
And I just want to get more insight onto that moment. Was there like a moment or a series of moments that kind of made you go like, you know what? I need to like be heard. Like, I guess what was the, you know, the domino effect that like, you know, made
Yeah.
you overcome that fear? Because that's a big, you know, that's a big thing for me.
Yeah. I admit that back to the idea of having a book that I wrote published, I've been reading countless books since I was a little boy. And I think consciously and unconsciously, I thought that how could I get a book published? Back to that sense of me not validating my work. So that was the thing that I realized that you gotta give it to yourself first. And if you got a song to sing and you don't sing it, then they're not gonna be happy with you that you didn't use your time in a way to sing your song. So that helped me. That helped me in my reckoning with myself to go, just go for it. What if you got to lose? Just go for it. So yeah, it was a reckoning.
Are you freer on the other side?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Question, do you think about putting a book together of all of your inspirational sayings?
Oh.
I pick those books up all the time.
Oh.
Your sayings are so good and they're so helpful and they really like help. So look, I'm already brainstorming. I'm thinking. I already got them and know them, like.
Oh. That's something I'll think about. And know that the book ends with, I think there's 20 of them that I wrote. So there are more.
Yeah, there's more.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take that to heart. Thank you.
Yes.
How you doing? My name is Spence.
Hi, Spence.
My future wife was a former student of yours.
Taylor!
I don't know you personally, but again, you were my future wife's favorite acting coach. And I am a New York City public school teacher myself.
Oh, Spence, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do.
Appreciate it. Let's say this room was empty, and that little boy from Cleveland was standing right in front of you.
Uh-huh.
What do you say to him, and what does he say to you?
Wow. What does he say to me?
And what do you say to
And
him?
what do I say to
That
him?
little boy in Cleveland, probably watching Jim Brown games.
Yeah, he wasn't watching Jim Ryan. Yeah, I don't mind telling you. He was watching the Tony Awards. And
Watching the Tony Awards.
right, yep. And he was lying to his mother and two other older brothers that he had to watch that movie musical that was on for school. It was a lie. He only had one TV. So what would he say to me?
What would you say to him? If he saw you right now and everything that you've become, what would he say to you?
My mother called me Timmy Boy. She was from the South, so they added the boy to it. I think the Timmy Boy would say, "Oh my gosh, look at what we did." I think he would say that. Yeah, because he dreamed a lot and he was very free. Yeah. Yeah, and I had a lot of people around me that encouraged me to be free too. And my mother knew nothing about the arts, God bless her. But she did everything she could to help me. I needed a tuxedo for playing in like I was a flute major in undergrad. I needed a tuxedo. That was going to be our uniform. $100 is a lot of money to a domestic worker in 1874. It's a lot of money. And she just said, "Timmy, give me a week. And then come on home and I'll give you the money." So that kind of support from this woman and the teachers. So yeah, I don't know how it happened that I was so insulated because I was my own kid. I always was. I didn't feel like I had to be anybody else. Yeah. And then the other part was.
What would you say? And what would he say to you? I think
What would
you
you
said,
say?
yeah. So the other way around now.
And what would I say to him?
Yep.
I say to him that I'm really proud of him that he didn't let the things that some kids said that were, as we know, kids can say some awful things to you. Back when I was a kid, they used to call you a sissy and a punk. They didn't call you that FAG word. They called you a sissy or a punk. And I had a super high-pitched voice as a kid. And some of the kids would call me, oh, sissy, oh, punk. But yet, I remember high school graduation. Yeah, I sang the Star Spangled Banner. I was a soloist. Graduation, right? I'm walking down the aisle to go back to my seat, and this guy says punk. And I thought to myself, just wait and see where this punk goes. So, yeah.
Tim, first of all, now I know why you were late to rehearsal. No, in an ideal world, where would you like to see yourself 5 years from now?
Oh my God, 5 years from now.
That's not a lot for a guy our age.
No, you're right. Yes, for our young age. I have been thinking about this. I'd like to teach more, but where I get to make my own schedule. Where I get to like do a workshop here, a workshop there. I'd like to direct more, and I'd like to perform more. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We have time for one more question before our break.
Hi, Angela.
Clara?
Sure.
Did you learn anything new about yourself or have any aha moments during the process of writing this book?
Oh, yeah. Oh, throughout it. Yeah. I mean, the biggest one was that one where I realized that I thought I had failed in my life. And then I realized, no, you've done all right because you've been encouraging others. So that was the biggest aha moment. That was truly the biggest. And writing, I had been told, was a solitary act, and it didn't feel solitary at all when I was doing it. I felt really protected and surrounded, and it was so joyous. Yeah. Yeah, and I felt brave to push back. I mean, the editor didn't give me any problems. The copy editor was like, didn't either. They were really good, but I held my ground for the things I really wanted to say, and I was proud of myself for that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so before we take a little break, Timothy would like to get a picture with all of us. Rosalie, we're going to do it in sections, so how should we start?
I think I'll come up there and shoot this way, into the audience,
Okay.
I guess. I don't have a drone.
But by the way, Tim is always early for rehearsal. When I walk in, he's always there, and I'm early.
I'll just pay it.
Oh.
Yeah, he's going to be in it.
Is it okay if they stand up, please? Everybody here. Thank you.
All right, next section. Stand up. I don't know if we can get the whole
Good, you go. Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you. Yay. Fabric now. The fabulous Miss Tina Fabric.
Family players, oh my God.
Miss Tina Fabric. This is Tina Fabric, y'all. She's a legend. She's a legend, Tina Fabric. Oh yeah. How are you? I know you said you were gonna come.
Oh yes, oh yes.
It's like drama 1 or drama 2. But it was between the two.
Remind me how to spell it because I'm going to do it right. Oh no, that's mine, so let me push mine over here so I don't screw it up with yours. Okay.
Anyone that you might be
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. I adore you. Thank you. You got your book? You can sign it at the time. Of course. I love you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. It's Joelle. How are you?
Just to finish the show, the last one I did was that we did a workshop. Lights Out next week.
Thank you so much, Joelle.